Chair's a little low. I can't get it up. No,
No, I get
I-
like that
Oops.
too.
now it's really low.
That's what Rick was complaining about. We're gonna get him some telephone books to sit on.
It seems like it doesn't go up high enough.
Yeah. No, mine seems like that too.
My problem is when I sit down, I'm like 6'4". When I stand up, I'm 5'10".
Hmm.
I got stubby little legs and a big long torso and head. Okay, we can go and get started. Chrissy, you good? Okay, roll call. Clerk, please.
Mr. Bernard,
Here.
Mr. Malloy,
Here.
Hernandez, not present.
Okay, we're here today to discuss annexation meeting, March 19, 2025 at 1 PM in the admin building, 160 North High Street, Warren, Ohio. And this is in regards to
It's on the front cover.
a petition of annexation of approximately 7.9561 acres of land, parcel number 28522200, also known as address 3942 Youngstown Road, State Route 422, Howland Township, to the city of Warren. The petitioner is a company called Life Storage LP. And I guess at this time we can turn it over to Attorney Bob Berkey.
This annexation was submitted to the commissioners, and the commissioners in turn have asked me to overview and make sure that it's ready for annexation. I've reviewed all of the paperwork that's been submitted by the petitioner for the owner, and find that of the and we're at the point in this proceeding under 709.023 E of the Ohio Revised Code, where the commissioners are obligated to make a finding of conditions that have been met in the annexation petition, and if so, then the annexation should be granted. This is called an expedited type 2 annexation. It's one of those annexations or statutes that came out of all the wars that took place back in the 70s and 60s. And it was really made to help the townships and the municipalities come together, at least on some issues and in some annexations where there's less rancor and less litigation. So along that line, there are 7 conditions that the commissioners have to make a finding on. And in my opinion, and I've shared that by way of an email yesterday, 1, 2, and 3 all deal with kind of procedural things. I have reviewed the procedural aspect, including the time of filing, the timeliness of filing rather, and the content of the filings, and find that all of those are in order and would be answered yes under 1, 2, and 3. Number 4 and to 7, I've also reviewed in terms of the practicality of looking at the map and the auditor's records, and in addition, the city of Warren has filed its letter showing the services that it would render, which are in compliance with the statute, as well as the street issue. So my overview would suggest that they have complied with all 7 conditions.
Mr. Burke, I have a question. Why are they seeking to annex into the city?
It's well, that's the question that should be answered then, but that's my understanding is water. When they built it's my understanding, when they built the building, they had to have a standpipe structure for the building. And that took an increase in the size of servicing to that property. And I may not be saying that correctly, and I'll defer to the agent for the petitioner to clarify that for the commissioners, but I believe it was water.
So the city wouldn't supply them with water unless they annexed?
Again, I believe that that's the reason, but
I thought,
no one has ever told me that.
I thought that
I
was
mean,
no longer the issue, but that's why I'm just asking. I didn't think that was the issue anymore, but evidently it is, huh?
It is. Oh, yes, services that the cities.
So
garner
they're
up,
still making you
yeah,
annex
yeah.
to get their
Yeah.
services.
Oh, but you might address that very question to the petitioner, the agent for the petitioner.
Okay.
Anything else for me then?
Nope.
Thank you.
Okay, Attorney Natalie Schultz.
Thank you. So yes,
State your name and who you represent.
Natalie Schulte, I am the agent for the petitioner Life Storage. As Attorney Berkey said, we have met all the requirements for 709023 for annexation. Pursuant to that statute, with no objections from the township or the municipality, you are required to approve it. On the water issue, it is to maintain the standard rates within the city that's in their current and future water usage. They were recommended to annex into the city to maintain those standard rates. And my colleague, Ben Chinaki, he might be able to speak a little bit more to that.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. Ben Chinaki with the law firm of Retzel and Andrus, representing the petitioner in this matter. With respect to this issue, first, I'll just clarify, this is not something that's central to the determination of whether you have to accept annexation. That being said, the law as it relates to the provision of water services to extraterritorial water customers is quite different than the law for customers inside the jurisdiction. So City of Warren has an obligation under the Constitution to provide a water rate to its residents and persons within the territorial boundaries that are reasonably related to the services provided. There are no caps on the amount of water that they can charge to an extraterritorial customer. There's some law that says that if you have a contract, then the contract rate governs. And separately, there's a provision of the codified ordinances that contemplates the water rate charged by the city to extraterritorial customers currently. That could change at any time. The petitioner's position is that rather than be subject to the whims of the legislature in the future, they want to make sure that they're charged the water rates that a municipal resident is charged, which is subject to a reasonableness inquiry under state law.
Okay, question I have for you, if I could. These are storage facilities. What do
Yes,
they
sir.
need water for?
Well, everybody needs water on the site in order to get a building permit. So the water needs to be there no matter what.
Okay. And I imagine with this, police and fire service would also now be City of Warren for that facility and not incumbent upon Howland Township?
Should maintain certain.
Okay, and how is that designated or delineated, I guess, to 911 center and people, so in time of an emergency, the right people respond?
Another issue that comes into play on that. And the boundary lines be. Doesn't answer your question, eventually.
So there'll be mutual aid agreements between any of the city and township safety services that would provide for cross coverage currently and in the future. Separate from that, once this commission, assuming it finds all the factors met, the annexation has to go back to the city for their approval. So they'll have to pass legislation to that effect. And once all that takes place, assuming everyone does what they said they're going to do and the annexation goes forward, the property will lie in both taxing jurisdictions. The township will continue to receive taxation on the property, and the city will be able to tax the property as well. So the auditor will have an obligation to create a taxing district that specifically contemplates and provides for taxation for both the township and the city moving forward.
Okay, so this will go back to Warren City and then it'll come back to us again for another hearing with proponents and opponents. Okay. Commissioner, any other?
No,
So, Mr. Berkey, so do we take this under advisement? Are they expecting a vote on this, or do we research these things now, these 7 steps after hearing the arguments with it, and then make a ruling at a later time? What is the procedure with you?
Conditions are.
Do you have any maps where it shows that it's contiguous?
yeah, there's one in here. There's one here. How many units are they gonna put in there? Do you know?
Storage units, I do not know. They'll have to comply with the existing zoning and the zoning of the city.
That would fall under the city of Warren if it's annexed, then correct? As far as the inspection and the regulations and that. Yeah, but I mean, the new ones though, the new units would be up to the city of Warren then, right?
Correct. Building is built. Any future expansions of use or anything of that nature with respect to the storage units would be governed by the city, assuming you approve the city's zoning and zoning code and their zoning inspector, the building code, building inspector, all those responsibilities would be on the city. And so the extent there'd be need to pull permits or do a review of compliance, the petitioner here would submit whatever fees are necessary to cover the review and then be subject to prosecution for any violations.
And there's no objection from Holland Township, correct? Yep. Well, how would the motion be read there?
Okay, well, I guess I would say at this time, not seeing nobody here to contest any of the facts that we have presented for us here today, that we would rely on counsel that the conditions set forth in front of us are true and that 7 are met, and in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code, we really have no option other than allowing it or than voting for or yay for this. And I've had conversations myself with the administrator in Howland, and he stated the same thing. That it's not that they don't contest this or they're in favor of it. They just have no grounds to oppose it, according to the Ohio Revised Code, according to their administrator. And I do see correspondence from him here. Can we take a phone call from the administrator as part of the informational gathering? He's on the line and asking if he could speak. Yes.
I don't have objection.
Chrissy, can you handle that? Okay, hit *6, Mr. Pantalone.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Can you hear
We can
me
hear
okay?
you. You're fine.
My apologies. I was unable to unmute myself. Thank
Okay,
you for your time
state who
today.
you are and who you represent.
James Pantalone, Howland Township Administrator.
Okay.
Thank you for taking my conversation today. And although, yes, those 7 objectives by ORC have been met, and it's pretty much not an option by us to object to anything. However, to answer a few questions from Commissioner Bernard, yes, annexation is still an issue for utilities. This is a storage facility that was already built. The property has remained in Howland Township for over 30 years. Unfortunately, there was a need for a tap-in for a fire line, and due to a interpretation of an ordinance by Warren City, they were required to annex this property. It has already been built. It's already complete. It's already operational. So, in short, yes, we have no ability as a township to object to this situation. You know, the ORC and the legislative at the state level is still holding Howland Township and other townships, I guess, hostage to annexation issues. A type 2 expedited is the best that we can do, where we at least continue to garner the property taxes. However, and the property lines stay, city gets their income tax, water, and we continue with property taxes.
Are those taxes in perpetuity, or is there a set time frame when those taxes will expire?
Now, it is my understanding under the type 2 annexation or expedited that those property taxes continue unless the petitioner were to attempt to file for a type 1, which we would strongly object to. A type 2 expedited, as spoke to earlier, was a meeting point between townships and city many years ago when full annexation was in full reign. And I think some of the items that do need to be addressed deeper, although approving the type 2 expedited is your only direction at this point in time. The situation of mutual aid and reciprocal services, it is my understanding, based on the resolution from Warren City, police and fire will go to Warren City. However, Warren City does not provide EMS, and you will lose that option for your storage facility provided by Howland EMS. We do not reciprocate EMS to the city, only for large events. So you're talking about a storage facility, has maybe three or 4 employees, low water consumption, but had a fire line that needed tapped in. So I'll entertain any questions if you have any at this time.
I do not, but I no offense to the client or to their counsel, but this seems like there's a loophole out there somewhere that maybe the state legislators can work on, but that's outside of this hearing and this this annexation here. But we wish you the best in support of that. Should Howland Township work with trust or work with state reps to change that, understanding the situation. But as you said, we have no recourse other than to accept the findings of this and vote in favor as they do meet the 7 curriculum.
That's correct. And I appreciate your, the county's attorney Bob looking over everything, and also the petitioners, attorneys as well, to ensure that they follow the process as per ORC.
Okay.
Okay,
We thank you too, sir.
thank you. Okay, so I guess with that,
We need a motion to annex this in.
that's what I was going to say. I'll entertain a motion if you want to.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to annex 7.9561 acres of land from Howland Township to the city of Warren. Address at 3942 Youngstown Road, Warren, Ohio, 44484.
Okay, I will second the motion.
Bernard,
Yes.
Yes. Okay, no, another, any concluding comments before we adjourn?
Outside of all these other things that they're.
Do the taxpayers pay you for your time, or does the petitioner pay for your time? Okay,
We appreciate that. We will continue to pay the township for that privilege as well too.
Yeah, but I think our whole point is it's because of water, though.
as usual.
Yeah.
Water is power, as we've stated. At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we adjourn?
I'll second that.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Easiest